Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most ambitious national experiments happening right now, Singapore's massive, all-in bet on artificial intelligence. And this isn't just about grabbing some new tech, it's about deliberately engineering the future of an entire country.
So just think about it. What if a whole country, one that's dealing with huge challenges like an aging population and just not enough land, decided to stake its entire future on mastering AI? Well, that's not some thought experiment. It's exactly what Singapore is doing. And it brings up a really fascinating conflict right at the heart of the nation.
At the very core of this whole thing is this incredible tension. On one hand, you've got the government's super confident vision to be a global leader in AI. But on the other hand, you have the very real anxiety of the people living there, who are, worried about what this all means for their jobs and their future. Okay, so that brings us to our first section, Singapore's Great AI Bet. We're going to break down how AI went from being just another tech trend to becoming an essential piece of the nation's actual survival strategy. The official line on this is crystal clear and incredibly ambitious. This quote from Minister Josephine Teo really says it all. It frames AI not just as a way to make money, but as a tool for public good. Not just for Singapore, but for the whole world. The big idea is to create value that helps everyone. So what's the game plan? It's all laid out in something called the National AI Strategy 2.0, or NIA's 2.0 for short. And this is way more than just some government paper. It's a national blueprint that basically says AI is an absolute necessity if Singapore is going to overcome its limits and lock down its future. This whole strategy really comes down to three huge shifts in thinking. First, AI isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's a must-have. It's a necessity. That mindset leads to the second shift. They're not just thinking locally, they're aiming to compete on the world stage. And finally, it all comes together in the third shift. They're moving away from doing small one-off AI projects and instead building one big connected AI system for the whole nation. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. The number one fear, right? Jobs. In this section, we're going to deconstruct what AI really means for Singapore's workforce. Is it a job apocalypse or something else going on? Well, the data here pretty much flips the whole robot apocalypse story on its head. Look at this. The vast majority of jobs, a whopping 76%, are not going to be replaced. They're going to be augmented. That means AI helps with the boring, repetitive stuff, which frees up people to do more creative and important work. In the end, only about 9% of jobs are at high risk of being totally displaced. And get this, there's a clear financial benefit to all of this. The data shows that in the industries that are most exposed to AI, wages are actually rising twice as fast as in other sectors. So this AI wage premium is a really powerful reason for workers to learn new skills and adapt. And this isn't just theoretical stuff. You can see the impact in major industries right now. I mean, you've got companies like Coca-Cola seeing a huge 70% jump in labor productivity. SingPost, a vital service, is shrinking a 2-day process down to just 2 hours. And in a high-tech manufacturing, Agilent is slashing machine downtime by more than half. These are game-changing results. But, and this is a really crucial but, while things look good overall, there's a new kind of digital divide starting to show. There's already a 15-point gap in how often university graduates use AI tools compared to people without a degree. And what that tells us is that without a huge national effort to upskill everybody, the benefits of AI might not be shared equally, and that could make inequality even worse. So, this upskilling challenge brings us to something that sounds kind of backward, a real paradox in the workforce. You'd probably think that AI would mean a country needs fewer foreign workers, right? Well, in Singapore, it's actually doing the opposite. For a certain type of talent, what's happening is that Singapore is basically running two different playbooks at the same time. On one track, it is rolling out the red carpet to bring in the world's absolute best AI creators. But on the other track, automation is taking over more of the lower-skilled jobs, many of which are held by foreign workers. And this creates a pretty serious problem. The big national training programs are mainly for Singaporean citizens. That means migrant workers, the ones in jobs that are most likely to be automated, often get left out. They don't have a clear way to transition or learn new skills.
And that's a major social and economic challenge. So, with all this high-level stuff going on, what does it actually mean for you? Let's make this personal. Think of this next part as your own personal playbook for how to turn this huge national strategy into an advantage for you and your career. To help its citizens get ready, the government has put a whole system in place. So whether you're trying to become an engineer and need a serious, hands-on apprenticeship, or you're a professional who wants to specialize in tech, or you're just someone who wants some easy-to-access training, there's a program for you. You've got AIAP, TESA, SkillsFuture. The point is, the help is there for the take, but here's where it gets a little messy in the real world. On the one hand, over 90% of people using generative AI say they feel more productive. That's incredible. But on the other hand, a whopping 76% admit they've passed off AI-generated work as their own. And this points to a huge ethics gap, mostly because companies just haven't caught up with setting clear rules for how to use these new tools.
All right, so for our last section, let's look at how Singapore is trying to solve these kinds of problems by engineering a future built on trust, weaving AI right into the DNA of its smart nation vision.
Look, the government gets it. You can't just force new technology on people if they don't trust it. So they're being really proactive. They've put out a model governance framework to help guide companies. They've built an open source tool called AI Verify so anyone can test AI systems for fairness. And they're taking a seat at the table in all the big global talks about AI safety. And they're earning that trust by delivering results you can actually see in your day-to-day life. AI is already working behind the scenes to cut hospital wait times in half, to make bus routes more efficient based on real-time demand, and to power chatbots that handle hundreds of thousands of questions from the public. It's becoming part of the invisible fabric of the city.
So, at the end of the day, Singapore has the blueprint. It has the investment. It has the will. But, and this is the big question, can a deliberate, top-down strategy really create the kind of organic, bottom-up culture of trust and innovation that you need to truly win the future? That is the billion-dollar question at the very heart of Singapore's great AI bet.